taking a little river walk beside the Thames this morning along the Queen's Walk.
The Queen's Walk is a pedestrian walkway in London, England, that runs along the south bank of the River Thames. The Queen's Walk originated in the 1700s. It was originally a walking path for Queen Caroline, the wife of George II. Since then, the walk has been redeveloped in sections over time. The walk was a key part of the Jubilee Walkway, created to mark the Silver Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II in 1977. Today, it is a popular walking, biking, jogging area for locals and tourists alike. Different sections of the Queen's Walk offers views of iconic London landmarks, including Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, and the London Eye. Along the walkway, you can find art installations, riverside terraces, buskers, markets, and an assortment of dining options. Some attractions along the Queen's Walk are the Jubilee Gardens, Westminster Bridge, Blackfriars Bridge, Tate Modern, and Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. We continued our route back toward the east on the north side of the Thames, with today's destination being the Tower Bridge and the Tower of London.
Wow.
What a fortification, huh?
Hi. Castle. This is the Tower of London.
The Tower Bridge was built in 1894, the purpose being to ease road traffic while still maintaining river access. Built with giant movable roadways that lift up the passing ships, this striking neo-Gothic architecture is not only beautiful but functional. The Tower Bridge is also considered by many to be the most iconic bridge in London. The Tower of London is a symbol of royalty and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the most complete example of an 11th century fortress palace remaining in Europe. The Tower of London has been the home of the crown jewels for centuries. Visitors are welcome to view the jewels, but no photography is allowed. Over time, the tower has served other purposes as well. At one point, it was a fortress built to protect the city from Viking invasions and was the most secure castle in the land. It has also been used as a royal palace and a prison. The tower was also the setting for several key historical events, including the execution of 3 English queens. William the Conqueror had the White Tower built in 1066 as a demonstration of Norman power. This was particularly interesting to us because we had visited Old Sarum Castle on the first day of our visit to the UK, which William the Conqueror also had built in 1069. The Tower of London's history as a prison has captured the public's imagination for centuries.
The Bloody Tower.
While some prisoners were incarcerated in gloomy settings, others could move freely across the tower grounds. The prisoners' treatment and fate often depended upon their crime and their social status.
Was Sir Walter Raleigh's study.
Perhaps one of the most solemn tales involved the princes in the tower. Upon the death of King Edward IV, his brother Richard brought his eldest sons, 12-year-old Edward and his 9-year-old brother, to the tower for their protection. The boys were never seen again. Rumors immediately began that they had been murdered by their uncle. In 1674, 2 workers found 2 skeletons in the castle. King Charles II believed that these skeletons were the remains of the 2 boys and had them buried at Westminster Abbey. The queens executed at the tower include Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's second wife, executed in 1536. She was accused of adultery. as was Catherine Howard, executed in 1542, who was Henry VIII's fifth wife. Executed in 1554 for high treason at the age of 17 was Lady Jane Grey. Perhaps one of the most famous inmates at the Tower was young Princess Elizabeth. She was imprisoned by her half-sister Mary I, who in the early days of her reign feared that Elizabeth was plotting against her. Elizabeth arrived at the Tower on the 17th of March, 1554. Today, the White Tower at the Tower of London houses a variety of exhibits. One exhibit is titled The Line of Kings. This is considered one of the world's longest-running visitor attractions due to its continuous display since the 1600s. This exhibit features life-size wooden figures of English monarchs dressed in their historic armor and mounted on wooden horses. It's essentially a visual timeline of British royalty. Due to its popularity, if you plan to visit the Tower of London, we recommend that you book your tickets in advance in order to avoid long lines, especially during peak times. There could be a separate line to one of the most popular attractions of the Tower, the Crown Jewels exhibit, but it does seem to move fairly quickly. If you'd like a deeper understanding of the Tower's history, guided tours are an option.
A bushel of peck and a hug around the neck.
Let's end our visit at the Tower of London with a more whimsical story. Ravens are considered to be guardians of the Tower and the Crown because there is a legend that if the ravens leave the Tower, the kingdom and the crown will fall. Therefore, 6 ravens are kept at the Tower and fed and cared for by the Raven Master.
Probably not nearly as old.
I think this was the Southwark Bridge. We'll look it up later.
What an absolutely fantastic family adventure we had touring the United Kingdom. We have learned so much, had so many laughs, and just had a brilliant time. But it's time to go home and get rested up for our next big adventure, for our New England road trip back in the States. And maybe another international trip in the not too distant future. We hope you decide to go with us.